Imagine putting your child to bed every Friday night, knowing she's safe with her father, knowing she's in good hands, knowing she'll come back home on Sunday, happy, full of stories to tell. Now imagine getting a phone call at midnight, and the voice on the other end tells you, your daughter fell from a building. And then imagine finding out, she didn't fall, she was thrown, by the one person in the world who was supposed to protect her. This is the story of Isabella Nardoni. 5 years old, curly hair, a smile that could light up any room, and a death that stopped an entire country of 200 million people. Brazil has never forgotten her, and today, the rest of the world is going to hear her story for the first time.
Polícia Militar Emergência.
Pelo amor de Deus, filha. Rua Santa Leocádia, 138. Tem ladrão no prédio, jogaram uma criança dela de cima, pelo amor de Deus.
Leocádia, número?
138.
138. Jogaram de que endereço? Da altura?
Do 6º andar, pelo amor de Deus, jogaram a criança dela de cima. Tem ladrão dentro do prédio. Ai, meu Deus do céu.
Que passa? Santa Leocádia.
Santa Leocádia, 138, bem. Pelo...
Meu Deus.
Pelo amor de Deus, filha. Olha se tá escutando, bem.
Estou ouvindo. Pode aguardar a viatura.
Before we talk about what happened that night, you need to know who Isabella was, because she wasn't just a case number, she was a real little girl. Isabella Oliveira Nardoni was born on April 11th, 2002, in São Paulo, Brazil. She was the daughter of Alexandra Nardoni and Monica Abravanel, who separated when Isabella was still very young. Despite the separation, Isabella's early years were described by everyone who knew her as happy and full of love. She had curly hair that her mother loved to style. She was energetic, curious, the kind of kid who asked a million questions. She loved cartoons, playing with her cousins, and being the center of attention at family gatherings. Her grandmother once said, and this detail stayed with me, that Isabella always had to be the one to blow out the birthday candles. Every single year. She would get upset if someone else did it first. She was a child, a completely normal, joyful 5-year-old child. Her parents had shared custody. During the week, Isabella lived with her mother, Monica. On weekends, she would go to her father Alexandra's apartment in the Santana neighborhood of São Paulo, where he now lived with his new wife, Ana Carolina Jatobá, and their 2 young sons. From the outside, it looked like 2 families making the best of a difficult situation. Isabella seemed to adapt well. She played with her half-brothers. She called Anna madrasta, stepmother. Life was moving forward, but behind closed doors, people close to the family began to notice things. Small things. The kind of things you notice but tell yourself mean nothing, until they mean everything. Alexandra picked up Isabella from her mother's house, as he did every weekend. Monica kissed her daughter goodbye. She had no idea that would be the last time. The night started normally. Alexandra, Anna, Isabella, and the 2 boys went out together. They stopped at a drive-through. They drove around the city. By all accounts, it was a regular Friday night for a family in São Paulo. But something happened on the way home, something that investigators would spend months trying to piece together, something that Alexandra and Anna would never fully explain. The family arrived at their apartment building, Edifício London, on Rua Cruz e Souza, just after midnight. Security cameras captured them entering the building. Isabella was with them. What happened inside that apartment in the next few minutes, no one outside that family will ever know for certain. The walls of that 6th-floor apartment are the only witnesses that can't testify. At 23:49, that's 11:49 p.m., neighbors heard a loud thud coming from outside the building. A woman living nearby looked out her window. She saw something on the ground below. She didn't understand what she was looking at first. Then she realized it was a child. Emergency services were called immediately. When paramedics arrived, they found Isabella on the ground, still alive but unresponsive. She had fallen, or been thrown, from the 6th floor window of her father's apartment, a drop of nearly 20 meters. She was rushed to Hospital Santa Marcelina. Doctors worked through the night, but her injuries were catastrophic. At 1:02 a.m. on March 30th, 2008, Isabella Nardoni was pronounced dead. She was 5 years old. When police arrived at the apartment, Alexandra Nardoni had a story ready. He told them that a man had broken into the apartment, a stranger, that he had fought with this intruder, that the intruder had grabbed his daughter and had thrown her from the window before escaping down the stairs. It was a dramatic story. It was also a lie. Because when investigators began examining the apartment, the evidence started speaking louder than Alexandra's voice. The safety net on the 6th floor window, the very net designed to protect children like Isabella, had been cut. Not torn, not broken, cut with scissors from the inside. Forensic teams found drops of Isabella's blood on the baby gate inside the apartment. She had been injured before the fall. On the stairwell, investigators found a diaper, stained, and the building's security cameras told a story of their own. They had recorded every person entering and leaving that night. There was no intruder. There never had been. Piece by piece, the real timeline emerged. When the family arrived at the apartment that night, something happened behind those closed doors. Isabella was struck. She was injured. She may have lost consciousness. And in the panic that followed, her father and stepmother made a decision that no parent should ever make. They took the scissors. They cut the protective net. And they threw her from the 6th floor. To stage an accident. Anna Karolina Jatoba, the stepmother, had Isabella's blood on her clothes. The forensic reconstruction placed both adults in the room when the fall occurred. The motive was never fully confirmed. Jealousy, resentment, a moment of uncontrolled rage. What was certain was that the two people in the world who were supposed to protect Isabella the most were the ones who ended her life. The case consumed Brazil. Every television channel, every newspaper, every living room discussion. Millions of Brazilians followed the trial in real time in March of 2010. After 5 days of testimony, the jury reached their verdict. Alexandra Nardoni, the father, guilty, sentenced to 31 years in prison. Anna Karolina Jatoba, the stepmother, guilty, sentenced to 26 years. Both remain behind bars to this day. Isabella would have turned 23 this year. She would have been a young woman, maybe in college, maybe dreaming of a future no one will ever see. Her biological mother, Ana Carolina Oliveira, became one of the strongest voices in Brazil for child protection. The case led to legal reforms, stricter rules for apartment safety nets, and a national awakening about violence inside the home. Brazilians call her case simply Isabella. One name, one little girl who changed an entire country. But no law, no conviction, no reform can ever bring her back. If this story moved you, stayed with you, made you hug someone a little tighter tonight, then do one thing for Isabella and for every forgotten child whose name the world still needs to hear. Subscribe to this channel. because every subscriber is another voice keeping these stories alive. Another person refusing to let them be forgotten. We tell the Brazilian cases that the English-speaking world has never heard. New case every week. And next time, we step into one of the darkest stories Brazil has ever tried to bury. A glowing blue powder, a 6-year-old girl who thought she had found magic, and a city of over 1 million people poisoned by something they could not see, could not smell, and could not escape. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of each other.